everybody. This is Art School Graduates Podcast. My name is Justin Robinson. Today on our podcast, we got the super producer, Maine Beats. What's going on, Maine? Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me. How's everybody doing today?
Man, everybody's doing pretty good, man. So you guys are probably wondering how this connection happened. I grew up with this cat. We grew up in Pomona together, like just being wild boys when we were younger. So it's yeah, he's laughing because he knows, but it is a total blessing to see this man develop into this producer, and just you'll be surprised some of the stuff that he has created, he's come out with. The intro song and the outro song on my podcast, this dude produced and created himself. So it's only right that I had to get him on here to just give him his flowers, you guys. Just allow him to have this time to just share his story. So first things first, man, just like growing up in Pomona, how did you get from Pomona to producing, brother? How did that come about?
Continuation school.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Continuation school.
Continuation school right there off of 2nd Street in Pomona, Park West. You guys, a lot of schools, especially in the inner city, they don't offer a lot of outlets for children with other talents other than the bad kids, I would say, with other talents other than playing sports.
Yeah. Right.
So I actually came across a teacher, and he kind of saw my interest in music. And he was like, he actually told me, he was like, if we had a music class, would you want to be the person in charge of it? And I was like, yeah. Right. His name was Mr. Black at Park West.
Oh,
he was actually a history teacher. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So every, I think Thursday, we would go into the library, kids that wanted to work on music. We would go into the library, and we would be in the library at Park West talking about music, waiting for instruments to come and stuff like that. We never got instruments, but it was just a community of kids talking about music. And it kind of like gave us that belief that we know a lot of everything.
Right.
We know all the things.
Right.
To even rewind it a little bit more, I come from a family that I grew up in a household where we had a piano. We had a closet full of instruments. My grandfather was a gospel singer. His group was the Stars of Bethlehem. He introduced his nephew into the music, and his nephew started a group called the Mighty Clouds of Joy. So they ended up going on tour, and I grew up every holiday at my house because we had the musical stuff, watching my grandfather, watching his siblings and his nieces and nephews sing, right? And they always talk about, I was inspired by the music that I heard in my house, and I was actually blessed enough to be able to see people create music from scratch. Like my grandfather loved the blues, and I would see him on the piano.
Yeah.
Out of all my brothers and sisters and other cousins and stuff, I would be like, I'm about to show grandpa that I can really do this.
Yeah.
So fast forward into high school, of course, you see kids playing in band and stuff like that. But I'm like, that's corny. I don't like the shoes they're wearing. Right? I want to hang out with the athletes. I want to hang out with the athletes. They're the cool guys. You know what I'm saying? I want to lift weights. I want to be, strong and cool.
Yeah.
But Mr. Black kind of like told me, like, if this is who you are, be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to try to look like this or be like this and da-da. And I was like, I'm gonna stop lifting weights. I'm just gonna focus on music.
He's like, I'm gonna stop getting buff.
Yeah, for real. I was out of control, but I ended up, just having. I was blessed enough to have friends. Jack Mulvaney, Tony Banta. They were like, bro, you're good at making music.
Yeah.
Introduce you to Mike Rashoni. He had a studio at his house. So Tony dropped me off like I was his son at daycare one day, and was like, go here. And I'll never forget that. Even fast forward, being around Taylor Barr, things like that, where he was like, bro, I'm gonna get Fruit Loops on my computer, come to my house and make beats. And it always kept me inspired. It always, the wonder of it, because growing up, I thought you had to be rich to make music.
Really?
That's how I felt. I'm like, I'm listening to Timberland. I'm like, you got to be rich. There was an episode on the Cosby's where she goes into I think she goes into a recording studio with Herbie Hancock. I saw the equipment. I'm like, I can't buy that.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, and
Yeah.
growing up, you got house speakers and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't have money to buy speakers.
Right.
So what do? And I'm telling you, a kid brought a floppy disk. This is how old I am.
Yeah.
This is how old we are.
Yeah, dang, bro, don't put me in that. I'm old.
A kid brought me a floppy disk and was like, "Hey, I got Fruity Loops. Put this on your computer."
Wow.
I put it on my computer. My brothers every week would delete it. We were playing the old school Grand Theft Auto from the sky view.
Yeah.
So that Fruity Loops and that on the computer, messing the computer up.
Oh, wow.
So that was my journey, and down the line, I started taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I ended up in Dallas, and then they kind of showed me a different light and was like, "Bro, you're really nice." And then I got into audio engineering, and that got me into rooms.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Wow. Audio engineering. Now, what did you have to do to get to that stage of going from just playing on Fruity Loops to the audio engineering to this place now?
So it's sort of like the cliche audio engineering storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like you hear audio engineers talk about it all the time, right? There were moments in school where like people were making these mixtapes, CDs.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I was one of the kids I had access to a computer. A lot of other kids didn't have access to a computer in their homes. So I would burn CDs, right?
You're right.
I learned how to burn CDs and give it a good fade into the next song.
Oh, like DJing almost.
DJing, but if you go back even more old school, it's something called when you're using tape reel to reel.
Yeah.
How they would take tapes and splice them and cut them, right? So
Ooh.
I learned how to splice and cut just using just off a computer stuff, right? Further back, I'm gonna keep talking backwards and forward. Further back, I went and I had my great grandmother's cassette player. I would listen to the radio. As soon as Power 106 would play a song that I liked, I would record it. Now, how I would record that song onto cassette tape is, I don't know if you did it before, I would put tissue or a piece of paper on top of this cassette, and I'm now able to dub over the tape, right?
Oh.
So I'm doing this as a child. I'm elementary, junior high, high school. I'm dubbing over CDs. I'm dubbing over. I just knew how to do it.
Yeah.
And me just was like, you know how to dub over stuff.
Yeah.
So there was a program called Audacity.
What is it called?
Audacity. It was
Audacity.
Windows.
Yeah.
So me and my cousin, JP rest his soul, we would take the cassette tape that we use, have, say, for instance, an instrumental playing, or even the CD player, have an instrumental playing. Then we would put the speaker up to the microphone for the computer and just record. Right?
Wow.
And then fast forward, I ended up getting Pro Tools. I had a Digio 3 rack, and from that I ended up we didn't have anybody that know how to work the equipment. And I'm not the person that's going to read a manual, because I'm like, nah, I don't want to read it. I just want to, because I feel like when it comes to like equipment, of course, nowadays I'll read the manual because I understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take the slow route. I want to take the fast route. Let me just read this manual and stop being lazy. But back then, my mentality was telling me, if I learn it the way I want to learn it, then I learn it within the frame of how I'm going to create.
Yeah.
I have my own order of operation of how I do things, right?
Yeah.
It's like when I first got a record player, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is how I'm going to do it. Come to find out, I'm doing it like how they created hip hop. I'm marking the points of the record that I like, and I'm able to just rewind it. And then I'm recording these loops. But after Texas, I ended up coming back to LA, and a guy one of my older like mentor friends, he was like, "Hey, I need you to come to this studio and work on some stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, bet." First time in a big studio, I was so nervous. I'm scared. I think I stayed in the back of the room. I'm scared. I'm like, man, everybody's smoking weed. I don't smoke weed. I don't want to get paranoid. I don't want to get
Right. Right.
And they were like, do you have any melodies or loops or anything? And I was like, yeah. They played one of my joints. I sampled what was it? Casey and JoJo song. Got that cracking. They went up, probably one of the best songs I ever heard on one of my beats. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Go back to my friends, you know, they're like, oh, that's cool, that's whatever. But we don't have anybody to record it. I don't know what I'm doing. I have the equipment. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
So now I have to learn how to record. And how I learned how to record was recording myself.
Oh.
I became a rapper and nobody knew.
So you would make a beat and then record yourself rapping over it?
A full song.
Wow. Like hooking everything. No way.
Just because I needed to know how to do it. So that when, say for instance, my cousin or a friend would come in and say, hey, I want to record.
Yeah.
Now they're looking at me like, how do you know how to do this? I'm like, man, I've just been studying. I've been working.
Right.
But only a few people knew that I had songs. My grandmother and my cousin.
Oh, wow.
They were the only people. Like my cousin would take songs from me. He would take songs from me and be like, hey, I'm about to use this. I'm going to keep you on the hook, though. Like,
that's crazy.
If you ever go, I'll send you the link. If you
this is great.
You're going to hear me singing on the hook.
And that was all you. You wrote it and just sang on it, and he just... Oh, my goodness. Brother, man, I had no idea you went to this far of the lengths not to read a man.
Yeah, stubborn.
But sometimes but sometimes that's like honest to God, that's the best way to learn, because if someone teaches you how to do these certain things, you only know how to do it their way, instead of, like you said, creating your sound, creating your editing, and creating your skill set. So I think that's pretty dope. I tell even my students today when I'm teaching, I'm like, learn something. I'm gonna give you this, but you need to learn the other parts of how to make this whole thing work.
Yes,
that's real dope.
Time I sit down to teach somebody or show somebody anything about music or like Pro Tools or anything, I tell them, learn exactly what I'm teaching you and then forget it. Yeah, all you have to remember is the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Remember where everything's at in the fundamentals, and then you work at your own pace.
Yeah. Oh wow, that is really good.
So they learn the way they want to learn, right? So versus like I take piano classes, and I think I was in the piano class for 4 sessions.
Yeah.
And I told my grandfather, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. He asked me why, and I told him, I said, I don't like the way I'm learning.
Dang.
And I'm playing Fur Elise.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about Fur Elise. I don't care about Ode to Joy.
Right.
Let me get some diminished chords. Let me learn the minor 7 so I can play some pentatonic R&B vibes.
Right.
Right. She didn't tell me that I needed fundamentals.
Oh.
They're just telling me
you need to do it this way.
Exactly. And I'm like, but later on in life, I actually went to audio engineering school just to prove to myself that I could stay focused for that long and complete the process, right?
Right.
Because of course, you get ridiculed. You're like, oh, you didn't go to school. You don't know how to do this. You never done this. So I ended up taking a course at Say Institute, and there was a teacher, and he said he was like he gave me the breakdown of what a minor chord progression was, and a major chord progression was. But the way he broke it down was just instantly, I was like, oh my God.
So what is that? Explain those two different things, because I don't know music.
I'll explain it to you like this. Whenever you hear a minor, you can tell a minor chord progression because it seems dark and sad.
Oh, okay.
Major seems happy and cheerful and upbeat.
Got you.
But based on the drums, right, the instrumentation or the percussion around it, you can actually kind of manipulate either or to sound like either or, depending on what the style of the music is.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of hip hop is in minor progression.
Right.
The reason being because it's darker. I'm not gonna say I hate to say it this way, but it's lower vibration.
Uh-huh.
But then when you listen to Alicia Cara or what's the girl that sings Espresso?
Is
It's an
that
Espresso song. I
oh,
forget her name.
I know who you're talking about.
But
Oh
that
my God.
song, that's a major chord.
Yeah. Okay.
Happy by For Real is a
Major chord.
right? And then
Yeah.
Not Like Us is in the minor.
Minor. Yeah.
You know what I
Oh
mean? So
wow.
you kind of you like you can hear it. You're like, okay, bet this is what this is.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, once you get the
Wow.
the understanding of the musicality and in the way you can receive it,
Uh-huh.
the sky is the limit.
Oh wow.
So that's when I was like, okay, bet I really like this. Now I've had my trials and tribulations of working on a song and having somebody tell me, this is trash. This is trash. But
Oh yeah.
but I've learned that, I'm a fan of Quincy Jones. I love Quincy Jones. And Quincy Jones always talks about allowing God in the room when you create.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if I don't allow God in the room as I create, then I'm definitely probably going to create something trash. And that means, to me, ego is edging God out. Right?
Got you. Yes.
So as I edge God out, and that's ego, as I do that, I'm most likely not going to create something that is fulfilling. Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when you do something, when it kind of gives you that bright burning sensation, you're like, oh, this feels good.
Yeah.
So So and I've done that with learning.
Okay.
I just allow it to be. Instead of just saying, hey, I don't really want to learn this right now. I'm above this. No, that's
Right.
my ego talking. That's my lower self. So now I can speak with my higher self and kind of push myself to get the gist of it and then run with it.
Right. Wow. That's wise, man. That's wise. You know what's crazy? I feel like the older we get, those little things start to play out and you're like, damn, why didn't I have this at 21? But then you're like, if I would have had this at 21, I would have squandered this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I would have ran from it. I would have destroyed it at every chance I had.
Oh man, but that's crazy. So you mentioned about you teaching, and I remember we were chopping it up a little bit, and you had mentioned that like you're doing a mentorship program. What's all that about?
Which it's Translations, which is an ad company, and they're partnered with United Masters, which is a distribution company that's partnered with Beats by Dre.
Okay.
So it's 3 different companies, and what they're doing is they're having students, college students, musicians that are I guess ahead in their class. I don't know how they pick the kids, but they're having them create an ad for 2 premier athletes, which one is Brendan Rice from the Chargers and Rakia Jackson from the Sparks, from the LA Sparks.
Okay.
So what they're doing is pretty much create a commercial using the Beats headphones. Like I got Beats headphones on right now. Create an ad. They're going to create the commercial. We're going to create the music around it. Then we're going to create a custom pair of Beats headphones.
Oh wow! So they're doing all 3 levels of like marketing almost.
Exactly.
So, wow.
In my department, we're creating the music. So I have 2 students, Ganu and Michaela. They're both college students from Southern California. And we're just creating from scratch. It's phenomenal musicians, and it's interesting to see young talent.
Right? Yeah.
And it's because of technology, they have access to everything. The accessibility is crazy.
Right.
So they don't have the same walk that I had. Right. But so my walk was a little different. Right. Their walk is instant gratification. Like instantly they get it. Soon as they make the beat, they got the quality there.
Like the dopamine hits them really quick.
Right. because they hear it differently. Me,
Gotcha.
I'm ripping a snare from a Kanye West or Dr. Dre song to get my snare to sound like Kanye West snare versus having a drum pack that somebody put on the internet, and it's like, oh, I got a drum pack. Like at the beginning of the program, that they asked me, they were like, "Can you give them sounds?" And I'm like, you know how many years I had to work to get these sounds? But
nah, these ain't for free. I'm sorry.
I gave them the sounds.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I gave them the sounds. They're all royalty free. Because the thing about me is, as a teacher, and I'm not saying that I am a teacher like that, but I think that if once we get a certain level of experience in something, we owe it to pay it forward.
Maine, you are a teacher, brother. Don't discredit yourself like that.
God, thank you.
You have to understand the School of Hard Knocks will allow you to become this teacher, this seasoned vet that you are right now, that you're able to pass that on. So you are a teacher. Don't play yourself like that, brother. I want to big you up because I know your story. So that's why when these kids come to you, you are teaching them something that you had to learn the hard way, and that you are actually showing them like, yo, there's more than one way to do this. Let me show you how I did it, because I know you know how to do it your way, and combine those two, because that's where you're going to get that dynamic sound from.
And that's exactly what one of the kids said. She was like, I can't believe that I can create this way.
Wow.
Right. Mind you, they come from a place where they get the loops, they get the automatic quality of good sounding guitars and stuff like that. Right.
Right.
I come from a place where I just made this whole ensemble of music. Now I'm going to chop it up and make another melody. I'm going to sample it and do it my way.
Right.
I've already played it. I made the music. I'm going to make it sound different. They hear it and they're like, oh my God, we should do that. And I'm like, possibility. It's a crazy amount of possibility. So that kind of made me smile watching them experience new forms of how they can create. And that kind of made me think to myself, like, okay, I think I want to do this more. Right. So anytime they hit me up, anytime Beats or anybody from that side hits me up, I'm like, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Wow. That's dope, brother. I love hearing that. So during this mentorship that you've been a part of, have there been any, like, I would say, challenges, or is it more like inspiration that you're starting to see when working with people like that?
The only thing that I would say is, because you're dealing with a big business and a big company, you still have to you have to put on your suit hat. You got to put on that. You got to put on that jacket, that hat, that tie. You have to play the role of this professional business. I'm a professional, right? Versus coming into the studio and saying, "Hey, let's just be creative." You have to keep in mind that this is something that this company is going to deal with. This company is going to deal with, and nobody wants to get sued, right?
Right.
But at the same time, we have to do meetings after meetings after meetings. I've been blessed to. Ricky Minor was one of the mentors that I had.
Oh,
right.
Nice.
Ricky Minor was I was about to say Beyonce, Whitney Houston's band leader and Jay Leno's band leader for a very long time. Ricky Minor just got an Emmy Award the other night.
Oh, wow.
Ricky Minor is his friend, his son was one of my close friends, and he introduced me. But Ricky Minor said one of the most important things that I will always remember as a creative, right? This doesn't go for everybody. He says, as a creative, just understand this. When you're good at what you do, you're going to get good business. And that good business comes with meetings. And all meetings are meetings to set up other meetings. So don't take it personal.
Right.
And I was like, that's funny. But he was dead serious. And I was like, okay, cool. And, talking to a guy like that, you get to understand it a little bit more. Like, okay, this is a business.
Right.
Right. Because he's running his own studio. He's doing the music for American Idol. He's doing the Jay Leno at the time. He's doing all these great things. And he still has the time to sit down with us and give us the game as an older black man. And he just sit down. I mean, he's from Watts, California.
Oh, so he's from the sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, so he kind of put Tyrese on as well. So
Wow.
he gave us some knowledge that will always stick around, and I will always have to remind myself and humble myself, because I'll be sitting on a Zoom call and I'm like, we got another 30 minutes. What are we talking about? We already touched bases on everything. Why are we still
Right.
here? Right.
Right.
But this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
We're here. We got to take it serious. We got to lock in and really build that camaraderie amongst each other, that fellowship, that brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever it is, and understand that, hey, do we all understand? Are we all on the same page?
Yeah.
'Cause if not, everything that we're creating is going to go to trash. It's going to go to waste. And we don't want that. Right. But I would say that's the biggest obstacle, is learning that part of this, because like I said, I'll get a text and be like, hey, we got sessions every day this week at TPN. All right, bet. That's my meeting.
Yeah.
Versus, we got a call Monday morning to go over what we're doing all week.
Got you. Right. I see what you mean.
Okay, we're fine details. We need those. Right. So it's growing on me. I was talking to another creative the other day, and I was like, I'm tired of meetings.
You got to have them.
She was like, I do that. She was like, because she works for ABC. She's like, I do that all day. That's all I do. I'm like, yeah, more power to you.
Yeah, I'm not the one for him.
Yeah, but I'm learning.
That's good. That's good. So you even talked about a little bit about like how you're sampling and trying to get like you're trying to get like a snare or a drum from like a Kanye West sample. So let's talk about that sampling. Friend or foe, like how do you feel about that? Because it is some parts, controversial. We've seen some rappers get rinsed for sampling certain songs. We've heard some people didn't even let songs out because people didn't want to get clearance for it. And even if it wasn't like a whole chunk of a song, we just know like they couldn't get clearance because of this. And sometimes those are like important parts of of their music. So like, how do you feel about that?
Don't put your creativity in a box. It's that bridge when you have to cross it. And then there's a thing called interpolation. So
what's that?
So say for instance, you want to sample, let's say, we want to sample a Ja Rule song. Right. But the only part from the Ja Rule song that we like is the bass line. Instead of course, we have AI, we can do stem, we can break the stems down. But instead of doing that, let's just find a musician that will replay everything. So if we replay it, it's called an interpolation. And we change a few notes. So it doesn't sound exactly like it. I don't know if you remember Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah.
Right? That was supposed to be an interpolation, but they didn't do it the right way.
Oh, is that like the Robin Thicke? Is it Robin Thicke song?
Yeah, the Robin Thicke song.
Yeah.
It's an interpolation.
But they didn't change it enough.
So
got you.
We can go that route, or we can go the route of just using the sample altogether. Now, the beautiful thing about hip hop is you have people like Jay-Z, which he's the GOAT. You have guys like him in place where if he sampled it, he makes sure that everybody that samples him samples that same song after him doesn't have to pay for that sample.
Oh, it's already cleared.
He cleared it for a lifetime.
Oh, wow.
So nobody has to.
A lifetime?
Yeah. Jay-Z.
That's so smart.
Jay-Z's the guy. So, but, I'm not against it. I'm all for it. I mean, do your research on what you're getting yourself into, but at the same time, don't let that stop your creativity. If you hear a song right now, I don't care if it's new or old, if it inspires you, go to work.
Right.
Use it.
Right. So it's just how I feel about that. So it's just finding that way to just make it work for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Avenues on how you can get it released. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I sampled a Dr. Dre song, and my cousin Compton TG, he put it out, and nobody's knocked on the door yet, and the song is doing very well.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's good, man. That's good. That's so dope. I always wondered how people felt about it, because there are some great producers that literally like sampling is their life. You know what I mean?
Blaze, Ninth Wonder.
I was about to say Ninth Alchemist, Static Selecta, Big Crit, he does it too.
I didn't know Alchemist was from LA.
LA, yeah, he's a West Coast kid. The East Coast just adopted him. They adopted him hard. Oh yeah, they adopted him tough. It's just because his sound isn't West Coast, the quote unquote West Coast. Like Dre gave us a very West Coast sound that we are very accustomed to, but Alchemist, it gives you it gives you East Coast.
His sonics don't make you feel like it's a big sound. It sounds like that New York, Brooklyn, in the basement sampling.
Yeah, like what was his first album? Alchemist, the First Infantry. That one, the green with the green cover. I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, dang, this dude's dope. And then when I fell deeper into it, I was like, you from LA? Where?
Everything is.
Bro, I was like, where? But it's just he's really, really, really good at that. And speaking of that, let's talk about it. What would be a dream collaboration for you when it comes to either, we could break it down to two parts. We can go for you to collaborate with a producer. We can talk about those, or we can talk about artists, or we can just throw them all in there. Just give me like your top five.
I'll say top 5 dream collaborations.
Yes.
Lauryn Hill.
Oh,
Aretha Franklin.
Oh,
Quincy Jones. Yeah, Aretha for sure. Quincy.
Okay.
Of course, Michael and DJ Quick.
Wow. DJ Quick was our soundtrack to Pomona for the longest.
Man, my older brothers, I stole my older brother's CD. He had
Sugar Free.
He had Sugar Free.
Yep.
He had Balance and Options.
Yep.
He had Wu-Tang and West Side Connection.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to hip hop, by the way.
My introduction to hip hop was my brother took me to get my first CD. It was Biggie with the baby on the cover. Was that Ready to Die?
Ready to Die.
Yep. That was my first song, very first album. And I was just like, because this was back when we had music videos. So that's when I was like, oh, I want that. So my brother took it. He bought it for me. And that was my very first introduction. Yep, exactly. Think about that. BET. I used to love TRL, watching music videos, because that was my, like when we were in middle school and high school, how else were we getting music?
We didn't have cable for a long time, right?
Right.
And my aunt ended up becoming a correctional officer. And because I live with my grandparents, my grandmother was babysitting her children. So she started paying my grandmother. So my grandmother had extra money.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up getting cable. We ended up getting a computer. We had internet.
Yeah.
And I remember my cousin Jessica sitting down, and she put on MTV. It was a Sunday evening. And I'm like, what is this? Hanson Umbop came, right? I already knew hip hop. I knew hip hop already, right? But then this video comes on, and it's Hypnotized by Biggie. They're driving backwards on the freeway in a Bentley.
Right. In California.
In my mind, I'm like, this is the rawest thing I ever saw in my life. I'm witnessing something, the most magnificent thing I ever saw in my life.
Right.
And at that moment, the same thought in my head came, as when I first heard music that I like. How can I keep this?
Right.
How can I make this mine? So, same thing I did with the cassette tape. I did with the VHS. W videos all day.
Yeah. And especially when TRL or MTV had that video block. Remember, it was like an hour after school or something like that. It was just nothing but back to back to. It was I forgot what it was, but it was like for an hour you just got video after video after video, and you never knew what video you were going to get. So it was always
they made it so perfect because the music, for some reason. Yeah, and I'm not saying the music was better. I can't say the music was better. I'll say that the access that we had to the music, the form of access.
Yeah.
Right? We waited. We anticipated. We were at school waiting to get home and watch TRL. Right?
Yeah.
We probably didn't see who was coming on TRL. We just knew
we had to be home by 3:30 because it was coming on at 4 or 3:45.
So knowing that we had this to come home to made it that much special, right?
Right.
It's like your mom tells you, "Hey, when I get home, I'm gonna make your favorite meal," or you know,
Yep.
so we're doing this weekend.
Right.
You got that burning sensation. You're like, I
Yep.
can't wait to do it. I can't wait to do it. So
Yeah.
it's the wonder of how we communicated with the community of hip hop and pop and R&B.
Yeah.
That thing, how that existed in our lives at the time, made us feel more attached to the music.
Honestly, it really did. And I think that was my first introduction to actually freestyling was 106 in Park when they did their Freestyle Fridays. And that's when I fell in love with the wordplay of hip hop. I was like, what is this?
Everybody at Diamond Ranch started doing it.
I did it. I loved it. I did it.
School, you be like, man, I didn't know you rapped.
I didn't. I knew my lane. I was an athlete through and through. I knew I wasn't going to rap for nothing. But I fell in love with it. And I think that was like when I started to do my deep dives into hip hop, where it was like Eminem versus Cannabis battles. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then it was the Big L freestyle with Jay-Z before Jay-Z was Jay-Z. Like, I was like, who is this?
And then freestyle.
Yes. Yeah, man. That's when I started digging deep into like the Wu-Tang had a freestyle on, it was Ed Lover. I don't know what show it was. I forgot what it was. It was,
MTV Raps.
Yes. They did their freestyle there. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, because it was like MTV would play hip hop later in the afternoon, like almost nighttime. So that's when I started to get into this whole circle of like, okay, this is what real hip hop is. And that's when I started to I went head first into it. Like it was the best.
That was I'm not gonna lie, LimeWire.
And what was the other one? It was the cat with the headphone on it. Napster. Yep. I put so many viruses on my mama computer. That was my fault.
Going from Napster and LimeWire, that kind of put us in the space where we're at now, where we're getting music for free, right? Subscription-based music. We destroyed the music industry, and it's okay. But it's up to us to kind of fix it, figure out what's a new way we can create the avenues so that the youngsters and the young people that we're seeing evolve into adults, how can we see them fall in love with something that's so grand?
I see what you mean. The one thing I've noticed for me is that everybody's doing, and this may be my own ignorance here, you probably would know more, but I feel like everybody's very much following a certain blueprint and style when it comes to like hip hop in certain aspects. Like a lot of my kids now, these dudes rap way too fast, bro. Hey, Mr. Rob, you want to hear my new song? I said, dog, why are you rapping so fast?
Yeah, there's too much information. They just vomiting information to me that I'm not. First of all, I don't even know what you're saying.
That
not the words, but now
I can't
even catch up to the information because I'm still trying to figure out what you said in the first quarter.
Right. And I think, to me, I would love for them to become more of a student of it rather than, oh, so-and-so can do it and put it on SoundCloud, I can do it. Yeah. And it's like, no, become a student, because then your value increases rapidly. Like I think people kind of sleep on Lil Wayne when he did, when he was dropping Dat Piff mixtapes. Oh my gosh. How many did he drop? 8? No, 10?
He dropped the gang of them.
That was when I was just like, oh, he's rapping. But every single rap was different. Nothing was the same. The cadence wasn't the same.
Now on top of the mixtapes, he has about 30 different features popping off at the same time. So
Yes. So I think if they became a student, how we became students of it, and our deep love for it, I think they would grow to appreciate it. But what I think a lot of them are going for is that more monetary gain of it. Where
The
it's
reason,
like, oh,
the reason being is, so you have a formula, right? And it's like the formula starts here where we're going in a circle. We'll figure out, okay, this works. Right?
yeah,
Then we go to the next step. Oh, that works. And we go into the next step. That works.
Yep.
Now you have an algorithm that does the same thing. Now people follow this algorithm, and because this works constantly,
right,
and we have to stick to that algorithm. The Taylor Swift works, right?
right,
The Drake works,
right.
So now everybody follows that. The King Von, I'm shooting up my homie's house. All that works, right?
Yeah.
That's why when you ask me about my list, I tell you the ones that pretty much stood out. Everybody loves Dr. Dre, but you know who Dr. Dre loves? Quincy Jones and DJ Quick, right? Everybody loves R&B. But you know who? But nobody talks about. They love Beyonce. They'll never talk about Aretha. You'll hear Beyonce talk about Aretha.
Right.
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 All these other young, like Snow Allegra, who else? Queen Naija, all of them. They love neo soul and R&B, but they don't talk about Lauryn Hill.
Right.
So so to my list, to the point of that, that's why I mentioned those people, because I'm like, look, if I'm going to try something that stands outside the box and the norm, let me go to the foundation of the creativity, right? Then I work backwards. Then I work right back to where I'm at now. And, and then I kind of look at it and I'm saying, okay, what can I do that's different? And we're all different individuals.
Right. We are.
All you have to do is just create freely. It's like freehand painting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of tracing and drawing in the lines, just create from scratch. And then sit back and look and say, what did I create? What am I looking at right now?
Right. Totally.
And then totally. And it might come up, you might come up with something new.
Right. So in that process of creating, right, when it comes time for you to create, what headspace do you need to be in? Like I don't know if it's headspace or what is that creative spark that you need? Like when you sit down to create, like what is it that you have in mind? I need to make a West Coast beat. I need to make an R&B track. I need to make, well, without like giving it to a certain artist, you just want to sit down and create. Like what gets you there?
So the way I approach things is two different ways. When I'm at home, I'm just going through sounds.
Ooh.
And the moment I hear something, it could be a kick or a snare, it could be a synthesized sound, it could be a piano. As soon as I feel something, I create. I just play. And the moment I hear something from that point, I just allow it to build upon itself, right?
Yeah.
Now if I'm at the studio and we have an objective, one of my guys might come in and say, Jeremiah is looking for a song, right? He's pitching a pack to Chris Brown. So we're going to get something that Jeremiah likes that Chris Brown can sing on. Cool. We know what that sounds like, but let's take it to the next level. Let's try to make it sound a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right now, everybody's going on the floor vibe, the kick snare, boom, bap, boom, bap, boom, bap.
Yeah.
It's sort of like disco-ish. So I know that that's the vibe, but also at the same time, once again, being a student, in order to be a teacher, you have to have once been a student. And the ability to Glasses Malone told me this. He was like, if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're headed.
Right.
Right. So I sit back and I look. I'm like, okay, where have we been? Oh, we've been in this boom bap kind of popish, floor on the floor type vibe.
Right.
We've been here before.
Right.
Right. And everybody knows what comes after aggression. We want to party after, or we want to make love after we're aggressive. Right. After the hardcore, it's like, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's kind of soften up.
Right.
So me personally, what I think the next wave is R&B. So because I feel that in my spirit, I'm probably instantly going to go straight to R&B chords. I'm going straight to R&B vibes, right? Now, if I'm working with, because I'm in a space where I'm not too much creating freely, I'm already giving direction. Like today, a girl, she hit me. She said, "I need live drums and I need major chord guitars in a major. So I need all that." I'm like, cool, okay, bet.
That's a lot.
I find a guitar player that has a guitar pack that'll send me some chords. I listen to the reference track that she sends me, and I go back and forth and say, okay, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. Bet. Now I have a folder full of melodies that I like, and all I got to do is, when I feel the inspiration to create,
you just pull from there.
Throw some drums on there. I have a crazy arsenal of drums, and I build my own drums. Boom, get that cracking, and then just create. It's just knowing your target, and a lot of people don't get a chance to have a target. And I would say if I had to tell every new artist or young artist, create a target, have an objective. Yes, it's fun to create because it's a hobby. I promote that all day. Most importantly, understand that, hey, I'm making this for this purpose. Be intentional, right? Because if you're not intentional, you're just gonna have a laptop or a folder full of music.
Yeah,
doesn't see the light of day.
True. That's the same thing for fine art, and even in design. If you're not being proactive with it, no one's gonna ever see it. No one's gonna ever know you even exist. So that's
be intentional.
Yeah. So this is something I've always wondered when it comes to the music industry. We know there's ups and downs. Sometimes they're played out in front of us. But for you in the music industry and dealing with like heavy hitters and big names, when it comes to like, you don't even have to tell me what they pay or whatever you get, but like producer compensation. I mean, that was one of our conversations we had before when it was, I think I sent you something. You're like, oh man, writers, they always want to complain about something. And then we talked about, so it's just like, so in this weird dynamic of the music industry, how does a producer get taken care of?
I'll tell you the order about how everything happens. The engineer gets paid first.
Okay.
I'm that guy in the room, right? Then the producer gets paid. I'm also that guy in the room.
Okay.
The writer owns real estate. The producer owns real estate.
Okay.
The engineer has no real estate. Meaning, long term, when we sell this real estate, the producer and the writer get a piece of that check.
Okay.
So, to break it down with payment, there's a standard. Right now, you can sit there and say, okay, like I sold a beat to Little Tecca, it was $15,000, right? But there's 5 people on it. So
wait, 5 people on the beat that you sent?
Yeah, 5 people on the beat. They all produce on the beat.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
Little Tecca, his rate for paying producers, the upfront fee is $15,000, right? Automatically.
Right.
That's low budget for his budget, right? Okay. Because every major label gives their artists production budget, studio, and music, right?
Yeah.
So his budget, he has to pay out $15,000.
Oh wow.
Per beat.
Oh
right?
wow.
Now it could be a situation where he ends up getting a Timbaland beat, and Timbaland said, "I charge $60,000." Right?
Yeah. So Timbaland can, because Timbaland can eat up his whole production.
He can eat up his whole budget.
Yeah.
Instead of him doing that, he's gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna find some guys that kind of like got the same type of vibe, feel to their music. I'm just gonna pay them $15,000 and keep my budget intact, so I don't go over budget." Right?
Got you. Okay.
So, and I think I think he did low numbers first week too, but there's 5 people on the production, so now we got to break that 15,000 down, and one of those guys might say, I don't want 3,000, I want 4,500. Now makes it makes it more tricky.
But how does that happen though if everybody contributed equally? If that makes sense,
or there's no such thing as equal.
Oh,
You can create equal, but there's
right.
no such thing as equal. Like we can end up making me and you can make a beat, right? Together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I equal part of the drums, you get an equal part of the music.
Yeah.
Right? You go off and you find a placement. Hey, Mariah Carey's dropping an album. I just got us on the Mariah Carey album, right?
Yeah.
Cool. What they paying us? Oh, they're gonna pay us 50,000. I'm gonna keep 30 and give you 20.
Just because I went out and found the person.
Because you found the person.
Oh,
That's where it kind of gets
sticky. It gets sticky. Right? Yeah.
Now there's instances where a guitar player will sit there and say, "Hey, as I take my guitar off of this, there's nothing you can do, and you don't have this vibe. So all you have is drums, 808, right?" There's a situation where the drummer can say, or the person that made the drums can say, "I'm taking my drums because I want more money."
So how? Damn. Like, but how would you want? Like, that's sticky.
It's better to do the music with your friends.
Got it. Okay.
Because then at that point you can sit there and say, "Hey, we're gonna have a civilized conversation."
Right.
The play. And then with my friends, they'll say, we're gonna split it down the middle.
That makes sense to me.
it makes perfect sense. But you gotta understand, this kid that just moved from let's say Milwaukee, that's living in LA on the floor in somebody's studio apartment.
Oh, he's gonna want that bigger chunk.
Oh, he's hungry.
Got it.
So if he's starving, he's like, man, I came out here, I got my wife and kids back at home. I need this check. So there's no debating with people like that. But when it comes to working on music with your friends, you have that freedom to have that discussion with no discrepancies, where somebody's gonna just come in and be the oddball. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Meets a pooper, and friends, you don't get that.
Got it. Because if it's with friends, you can be like, "I'll look out for you on this next one," or hey, bro, listen, this one is gonna be a quick turnaround, but I'll take care of you. So it's like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense.
They'll tell you straight up, like, hey, you don't have the luxury to do all that. Yeah, it can be fair. In the pop world, they say you love. I was actually in a studio session. They were doing some stuff for Rihanna, and one of the guys, the older guys, he's much older than me, and he's one of those guys that, like, he's blessed to be around Jay-Z type guy, right? He's like, "Man, ain't got no Bentley. We're gonna give him a cut." I'm just standing near the room. He's like, "Man, ain't got no Bentley. We're gonna give him a cut of the song." And I'm like, "Man, thank you."
Wow.
That's a
you didn't even ask for it. He just said it.
He even sent me the screenshot that he said to the VP at Rock Nation. He was like, "Hey, once this deal goes through, he's on the record too."
Oh my God.
I'm like,
that's amazing. Right. But that also looks good for you, because when people are reading credits or whatever it is, they see your name, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he was on this. Let's see if we can get him if we can't get this."
That works for the people looking to get you from behind, right? Versus the people that are looking like you're reaching for. The people that are reaching for you, the credits are good for that, right?
Right.
I would say the best thing in the music industry possible is the credit, right? But above the credit is to have your name mentioned in rooms that you're not even in.
Got you. Just because you were doing it and they saw how hard you worked, they saw how clean you were doing it. They're like, "Yo, I know a dude out in LA. He can probably knock this out." Oh,
and that's how the real work comes. Because I could sit in a room with I was sitting in the room with a dude. I'm not gonna say his name, but he works with a very big pop star. He just so happened to end up being in a session with a very big rapper. A friend of mine happens to be a writer that works with these big rappers. The friend calls me. He says, "Man, bro, you are blessed." I said, "Why?" He was like, "Your name is in rooms you're not even in." So what do you mean? He was like, bro, we're over here having a full-blown conversation about how much of a good person you are.
Wow.
It's not about like, so at some point you have to realize it's not about the ability to create.
Right.
Right. It's like,
Right.
hey, it's not it is a sport, but it's not like a sport.
Right? Got you.
Some people just want you in the room because you're cool to talk to.
Right.
Because I want the mental clarity of having somebody that I can talk to in the room, because this is stressful.
Mm-hmm.
So let me have this person come around, right?
Yeah.
And you get that, you know what I mean? It's like, I watched this show called Billions, and they got a whole therapist in their office, right? So, you know, some people, their vice, they have their own vice, and it would be to speak and talk. Some people like alcohol, you know, some people like women in the studio, right?
Yeah.
If you ever notice Kanye West doesn't have women, look at his videos. He doesn't have women in the studio. He has other amplified creators.
Yeah.
People that bring that energy around you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the number one rule. Bring good energy. You don't have to overdo it.
Right.
So just be a good energy, and then that kind of can put you in the rankings of somebody that they want around.
Gotcha.
Being an engineer that can communicate to the producer and the artist, oh, I'm winning every single time.
Oh wow, that's good, man.
And you don't have too many African American engineers that can do that.
Ego comes.
Older white guys.
Yeah, because they don't have the ego. I feel like for us, we come in with ego, and we want to be seen and we want to be heard. And it's like sometimes it's like, yeah, that's it, showboats. Yeah,
we come in thinking I gotta look like the artist. I gotta set up my tripod and start taking pictures like the artist does. And I'm like,
man, you know how many times I've seen pictures of you, a hat, probably a Pro Club hoodie, and some shorts, sitting at the table, probably with some slides on, just working. You don't got no any picture I've seen taken of you, I'm like, someone took that of him and sent that to him, because I've never seen you ever set up anything. You are strictly business.
Yeah, I'm in the computer, because it's like, I don't mind it, but at the end of the day, I'm like, we came here to work.
Yeah.
For a fashion show. And trust me, I got homies that they take pictures after the session, but they're crazy talented.
Right.
But they also are artists. I'm not the artist. Right? I'll ask somebody real quick, hey, you don't want to take pictures of the artists?
They right there. Go look at them. Yeah.
The camera guy always be like, hey, baby, look at your number, your Instagram. I got these pictures of you, they're fire. And I'm like, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. Appreciate it, man. But it's like, I'll be honest, to touch on the reality of all of it. There's ups and downs. You have your negative moments where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, right? And you make these irrational decisions in your mind because of whether mental health or just your financial situation. You get to that point because you work for yourself, and the harder you work, the better the outcome.
Yeah.
Yes. But sometimes that's not true with music, because I can go to the studio every day for a year straight and not see the fruits of my labor, because Chris Brown got sick and didn't cut the song, and then they forgot about it, or there's variables, right? So a lot of things can change. So if you don't love it, I wouldn't pursue it as a main source of income.
Right.
It's not that serious, because the mental state of a person that wants instant gratification and gets none is going to be a detrimental thing. It's gonna look sad. Yeah. So because I love this, I'll do it forever.
Right.
I can be a billionaire. You're gonna still see me, catch me on a good day, go for my long walks in the morning, and then come right back to the house and work on some music. Like,
damn, that's good.
Or I could be poor. I've had $3 to my name, and I'm sitting in front of a computer like, I'm about to make something crazy.
Right.
It's the inspiration that is still there. And a lot of people lose that inspiration because they think that it's supposed to happen instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work that way.
Right. No, it really doesn't. Creativity sometimes doesn't work that way either. That's what they have to realize too. So just to put a pin on it, we've been rolling, brother, having a good conversation. Just a couple more things I just was curious about, and I just wanted to get your input on is the future of music, with all the changes going on, streaming, AI tracks. Where do you see this whole world of music heading? Are you worried about it, or is it something you're excited about?
I haven't given it thought. I'm working. So, I mean, a dude named Ricky Booker from Oklahoma told me, he was like, get to work, put your head down and get to work. Don't worry about nothing else. They put those blinders on the horses so they don't have to look left and right. They focus on the lane in front of them, right? But truth be told, I'm not worried about it. There's always a demand for authenticity, right? It's like you have a good taste in music, right? You're going to find it. That's it.
Right.
If it's out there, you're going to find it if you desire to experience it, right?
Yeah.
It's like I want a slice of pizza, and it's midnight. Who's open?
Right.
If I really want that pizza, I'm gonna find that pizza.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You will.
But I think that just like the VHS, just like the CD, just like the cassette, all these were tools that are
right. Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I can tell a kid younger than me, use AI as a tool. Figure out how to prompt melodies. Figure out how to prompt. Because you might not have to play it, but your brain still has to think.
It has to figure it out.
Yeah. So figure out how to get that computer to speak your language that you feel inside you. The language that is inside your mind, teach that language to that computer and prompt what you're feeling. Because AI will never create the same thing twice.
No, it can't. It hasn't figured that out.
Right. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So that means if I create one thing, that's me. That's my idea. Yeah, it created it for me.
Right.
But I gave it that idea. Right. I said I wanted a rock and roll drum pattern with a soulful church piano chord progression.
Right.
That's my idea. Nobody else is doing that. So, but here it is.
Right.
So to my point, just use it as a tool.
Using it as a tool. Very good. Okay. That's smart, man. That's smart. I do that in my own classwork. I have my students. I'm like, if you want to be a good designer, you want to be a great artist, learn how to prompt this thing. Because before we had to as an artist, I had to research it. I had to go get it out of a book. I had to go to a museum. I said, now a computer can figure it out, but you just have to know how to prompt it, like you said. So, Maine, before I let you up out of here, brother, I appreciate this time. In a world where your art could shape the future, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Legacy I want to leave behind. I want some things. I want people to be themselves and to not give up on what they believe they are.
Listen.
Like whoever you believe you are, right? Whoever you think you are on the inside, don't give up on that, right? You could be 70 years old. Do not give up on the person you believed you were at 8.
Right.
I still remember laying in my backyard on the ground looking at planes fly over me, saying I'm going to be in a plane one day going somewhere to work on music. Years later, flying to New York to work on music. Flying to Miami to work on music, right?
Hey, there we go.
Don't give up on that. Don't give up on that first feeling. Touch your gut and say, hey, I'm going to do this. Figure it out and just go. So my legacy, I want everybody to understand, approach everything with your heart. Approach everything with pure heart, pure intentions, and don't forget why you started. That's it. Just don't forget. Always remind yourself.
Excellent, brother. That is so excellent. Well, you guys, thank you for listening to this podcast. My name is Justin Robinson. My guest here is Maine Beats, and this is the Art School Graduate Podcast. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Thank you.